Welcome to the NBA Triple Double Show powered by SportsMemo. I am your host, Ronald Cabang from Wager Talk and at UCapper Sports on Twitter. I'll be joined by Moneyline Matt and Jeff Michaels to talk about the two series game fives today in the NBA playoffs. But before we get into those games, I do want to talk about what we got going on over at SportsMemo and WagerTalk.com. We got the free live odds pages. We got the sites, the deal pages. The cappers provide free picks and analysis on a daily basis, along with their daily packages as well. A whole bunch of cappers right now already have their picks and packages up and available for all kinds of sports. We got the MLB going off pretty much. I think there's a game going on right now, actually, in the MLB. So we have MLB going on all day, and then we got the two games tonight. Hockey as well. I mean, there's a lot of stuff going on, guys. So make sure you guys head over to SportsMemo and WagerStock.com. Before you do that, though, just make sure you hit the like and subscribe button here on YouTube. It only helps our show grow tremendously here. With that said, let's get Matt and Matt and Jeff here with me. Guys, it's been a crazy playoffs here, especially some of the series that we have today. We have the lower seeds with the 3-1 lead in the series in both of the ones that we're talking about today, the Knicks Heat and the Warriors Lakers here. Jeff, let's go to you. How's your week been going?
Yeah, I can't complain. A tough couple days, last 2 days, but we were running on a hot streak this weekend, so looking to turn that back around. And yeah, actually, my Guardians' first pitch, 8 minutes. So MLB kicks off early, but I'm definitely looking forward to these NBA games tonight. They should be exciting, no question.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, me and you touch on baseball and basketball, so it's gonna be this transition period from playoffs to into the MLB grind in the summer season. So, but I know Matt, you touch on a lot. You touch on UFC and things like that as well. I know the NBA is coming down to it, but how's your NBA playoffs been going so far?
Yeah, NBA playoffs has been going good, but before the show we talked about it. For every 10-2 run, I swear there's an 0-3 hiding around the corner, just ready to smack you in the face. And that's exactly what happened to me Monday. So yesterday bounced back very nice though. We went 2-0. We had Nikola Jokic triple double, and we had the Nuggets. Just really like the look of the Nuggets at home right now, and I feel like that Suns team is really just, in my eyes, on the brink of disaster. There's just so much hinging on Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. It's tough to consistently go out and get wins, but
Mhm.
kept it nice and light yesterday. Wanted to stop the bleeding, so we went 2-0. We're 2-3 on the week, and just ready to keep it rolling today. Ready to break it down with you guys.
Yeah, yesterday in the NBA, I took the Sixers Celtics under. That one missed, obviously, but also took the Suns on their team total under. I think what you talked about, Matt, in that series, it seems like the home teams are just taking care of business in that series, and it's like I said, I think we talked about it in the the preview series preview that I thought this series was going to go 7 games, and I think a lot of people wrote off the Suns after game 1 and 2, but they showed that they could they could protect their home court, and I think that's gonna pretty much get them to game 7 there. We'll see how that series goes, but we got two series here to talk about tonight: the Knicks and the Heat. First one up. Heat are up 3-1 in this series. They are the lower seed. They have covered every single game so far in this series as well. From a total perspective, they've sort of been alternating unders and overs. Game 1 under, game 2 over, and then alternating there. And do you see anything as far as like an edge on the betting perspective here, Matt? Like, or are you looking towards the props? I know in these low totals, you typically like these high pace, high scoring games for props. But do you see anything here on this type of series, this low scoring series?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. Randall did me dirty last time, but Randall would be the guy that I go to again. He is getting a lot of rebound opportunities in this series, and you guys have heard me talk about it. With the pace-up spots, with the higher total spots, those are generally the spots where I'll look for player props that are points plus assists, or maybe just assists alone, things of that nature, maybe a triple-double if you're looking at someone like Nikola Jokic. But when these lower totals occur and you think it might be more of a dogfight, a defensive-minded matchup, I tend to go with the rebounds or the points plus rebounds. And that's where I would be looking at with Julius Randle once again. I know he ended up fouling out in that last game. I thought that last foul was a little ticky-tacky for me. But again, I think at home in New York, I think this game is very similar to game 2, where your back is against the wall, you're in front of that home crowd. And the guys that I personally would be looking to, once again, would be the Jalen Brunsons of the world and the Julius Randles. This Knicks team doesn't exactly have the deepest bench in the world, so I do think it will be around those core three with Brunson, Randle, and Barrett. I haven't seen news just on Quickly just yet, but for me, it would be Julius Randle once again, even though he did me dirty last game.
Yeah, I mean, I think you talk about quickly here. Last I saw, Matt, was he's unlikely to play game five. But I mean, obviously no official news there, but unlikely seems like it's probably not going to happen, and that's going to hurt their depth there. And but we know that the Knicks at home, they play a little bit, they tend to play a little bit better. For me, my best bet on this game is going to be on the side here. So I'll talk about this game a little bit more later on. But what I do want to add to this game while we're on it is, with the Heat up 3-1, Jeff, do you see sort of like a little bit of complacency coming from them? Like in my mind, there's a situation where I could see maybe, Butler's coming off a 40 plus game. He's been carrying them, pretty much this whole playoffs. My gut is telling me that we don't see him play 35, 36 minutes today, and see if the rest of the squad can take care of business. If not, they maybe they wait to get it done here at home in game six. But what are your thoughts on this game here, and what do you think the strategy is here from the Heat side?
Yeah, it's funny, Ron, that you say that actually, because I wasn't going to make mention of, but I was scrolling through looking, best bets, whatever it may be. I was looking at FanDuel and DraftKings before the show, and I actually found a player special on FanDuel for Miami that was either Caleb Martin or Max Strus to score 20 plus points, and it was like plus 600 or something. It was like one of those small ones, just sprinkle a little bit on. But that caught my interest basically because of what you just said. I was reading things on the Lakers game earlier that were telling, LeBron to sit and he doesn't need to play because there wasn't a chance that they were going to win this game tonight, blah, blah, blah. But I think that there's something to be said. My best bet's actually on this game too. It's a player prop, one of the other guys that Matt mentioned. Uh, but from a sides aspect, everything just continues to point me towards Miami. And home favorites actually with 3 series losses are just 9-20 against the spread since 2017. So they haven't at least been able to cover the spread there. But you got a Miami team that's covered 7 in a row. They're 24-12 as a dog, of 3.5 to 9.5 in the last 2 years, and they're 8-1 this year as an 8 seed in the playoffs, if you don't count the 2 play-in games, obviously. And the Knicks, there was a span that they shot 50% or better from the field in 5 straight games and 7 out of 8. That streak ended on April 5th. That was also the last time they shot 50% or better from the field. So they haven't done that in a month. The offense, hasn't been hot, but I'm not going to bet against the Knicks team at home with their backs against the wall, especially with this, a relatively shorter line. So I'm looking at a player prop for this one. I would have to back Miami, I think, if I'm going with anybody. But like I said, I wouldn't bet this side in this game, in my personal opinion.
hmm Yeah, I mean, we talk about the side and the prop here, but do you guys see anything, Jeff or Matt here? Do you see anything from a total perspective? I know we have a low total here. I'm looking at the live odds page over at Wager Talk right now, and it seems like it's coming down a little bit. It opened up at 209.5. I see most books have it at 209, and then I have one book here down to 208.5. So it seems like it's coming down a little bit. Already a low total, but we know these two teams play a very slow pace, right? And they're both defensive minded as well. More so,
Yeah.
the Knicks have been struggling offensively more than anything. But do you guys see? I mean, how this is tough to me. I mean, I would like to say the under, but such a low total already, and it's already coming down a little bit. Do you see anything from a total perspective, guys?
Yeah, I'd probably be with you with the under, to be honest. But I think, again, it's a situation, it's almost like a game seven, at least for half the guys out
Yeah.
there, the Knicks out there. So, it's a must win. You got any of those guys, you got multiple guys on the Knicks that can potentially go off. And it's one of those hard games. If you think Miami's going to win, then yeah, I'm probably betting the under. If you think the Knicks are going to win, then hey, I think one of those guys has to go off and have an explosive
Yeah.
performance, and you may be
Hmm.
looking at a
That
team
makes sense.
total or full total over if you're looking at the Knicks. So I do kind of think it depends which side you would potentially be backing, or vice versa, I guess.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Do you have anything to add to that, Matt?
No, I totally agree with Jeff there. For me personally, I don't think I'm going to be looking at this total. This might be a game I honestly stay off from, just because
Mm,
the tendencies of the Knicks and stuff like that right now, nothing is really trending for them to maybe pop off and go over. Or I'm not, like the guys like Julius Randle, the guys like Jalen Brunson, RJ Barrett, they really haven't had that game where they all come together and play well. It's either one, another guy's playing okay, maybe two play decent, and the other guy really plays not good at all. So there's no consistency there. So it's tough to hang my hat on that. And yeah, for me,
yeah.
I would be, if I were to go anywhere, it would probably be the under as well. Both of these teams, backs against the wall. There could be a little nerves going on, stuff like that. I think it could be a defensive battle on top of that. One prop that came to mind before, though, that I didn't mention was maybe Mitchell Robinson, his rebound prop. I didn't think he had a very good game in Miami. I think this could be a good bounce back spot. I'm sorry. And again, with the lower total, I think there could be more missed shots than typical. So for me, I do think Mitchell Robinson would have a good chance to hit that rebound prop. And it kind of does coincide with the thought that, all three of us could see this game potentially going under. So for me, I think Robinson could be a nice look with the rebounds. I will not have a play on the total, I don't believe. But if I went anywhere, I do think I would actually go under here. I think this might be a dogfight.
Yeah, I think so too. I think the under. If I was to play a total, it'll probably be on the under. One more question on this game, guys, and I want to get your take on it. With this being a must-win situation here for the Knicks, right? And we know, possibly quickly is going to be out, more than likely, right? With him saying, unlikely to play. We see guys like Brunson and Grimes, right? They played 40 plus minutes in the last game. We're probably going to see 40 plus minutes from both Barrett and Randall, if as long as they don't get into foul trouble. But even though we think this is an under type game, doesn't like the amount of minutes, the opportunity there kind of give them maybe a look towards the over with those types of PRAs and or 3 pointers, like Grimes hit, not 3 out of 7 from 3 point in the last game here. Would
Yeah.
we look in that type of, because typically you see a total of 209, you're automatically looking towards unders, but if they're playing like the whole game, you would think all the stats are going to these guys here. Maybe you'll look towards the over.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. We talked about that on the last show, and we talked about it with Kevin Durant. The guy was like 11 for 32 or something along those lines, and he still smashed his over. And that's just because you're getting the minutes, you're getting the opportunity, you're getting the volume. If you're shooting 30 plus times, or, for these guys, maybe 20 plus times, 25 plus times, more often than not, you're going to hit that over. And that's what you're trying to predict when you're evaluating situations for player props. How many shots are they
Hmm.
going to get? How many minutes are they going to get? Last game, Randall most likely would have hit if he didn't get into foul trouble and end up fouling out, because he would have got those minutes. I definitely thought he should have taken more shots in that game and been more aggressive in that spot, especially game 2 on the road, or game 4 on the road against Miami. I think you need to be a little more aggressive. But now that they're at home here, I really do expect that volume to be there. And the guys who take up primarily a lot of that volume is definitely Jalen Brunson. I think he's going to try and get in that paint, hit that little post up fadeaway. And then Julius Randle on top of that. But someone who also has been fairly aggressive this series is RJ Barrett. So, with those minutes, with those volumes, as long as they stay out of foul trouble, that's where their points and statistics are going to come from. I think it's really going to be bulked up with those three. So those are definitely the guys that I'll be eyeing here. It won't be any like side guys coming off the bench, anything along those lines,
Yeah,
unless it's that Mitchell Robinson rebound prop. Other than that, it's those three only for me.
I like it. Anything to add, Jeff, before we move on to the next game?
Yeah, I was just gonna say to Matt's point actually that he made earlier. The consistency with the Knicks, though. How often have we seen, all three of those guys going off at the same time? And I do think that, to some extent, the books almost have to anticipate that they are. I'm not entirely certain if there's a way to go back and see like past PRA numbers, but I would be interested to see if or how often, all three of those guys have gone over their PRA numbers in the same game. So, I do think it's a little bit of expect the best kind of situation. And, how often do all three of those guys actually hit, 35, 40, even 30 plus PRAs a game at the same
Yeah.
time. So, I think in a perfect world, yeah, if all three of those guys go over their PRA numbers, yeah, we're definitely looking over, but I'd be curious to even know how often that has happened this season.
That would be definitely interesting to know, because I know we look at a lot of data, Jeff, but we we can only pull up the numbers, but we can't pull up like the odds and stuff like that. But that would be interesting to see that. Let's go on to the next game here, the last game, Lakers Warriors. The Lakers lead the series here 3-1. Both road games in LA went under. Both game 1 and 2 in Warriors territory went over. Warriors with the with a sense of urgency out the gate here, you would expect. But
Yeah.
from a total perspective too, it just seems like when they're at home, they're offensively, they start to push the pace. They do a little bit better offensively. This could also be an over game. I mean, I think I've seen a lot of people. I mean, we're on Twitter a lot. We talk to a lot of cappers, but a lot of people on the Warriors and the over here. Is that the way you would go to, Jeff?
I'm actually looking at the Lakers tonight. I used it as a premium play over at Wager Talk, so I like, I do think that the Warriors are going to win this game. I think backs against the wall, in Golden State. I don't think that this is a situation that, they're going to blow it here. But with that being said, I said relatively small line in the last game basically because I was comparing it to this game. The Lakers, I saw 7. I think I even saw some 7.5s out there. And you got the Lakers right now that in the postseason, they are the best defense. They're allowing opponents to shoot under 42%. And in the last 3 years, they're 10-6 straight up and against the spread against this Golden State team. And they've won 6 out of the last 7. And, it's funny because the Lakers were the main team throughout the regular season that everybody was talking about these rest days and stars resting. And they obviously have benefited from it. And playoffs obviously have a little more rest built into them in a sense. But the Lakers are 18-9 against the spread when they've played 6 or less games in the last 14 days. So having a consistent day or two off has definitely benefited the Lakers. And we were talking about it before the show. I mentioned it quickly, but Golden State for the first time this season was held under 105 or less points, excuse me, in consecutive games.
Mm-hmm.
So the Lakers are 11-3 against the spread when they hold an opponent to 105 or less in one game.
Yeah.
And they're 6-0 straight up and against the spread when they've put up under 105 themselves. So not only does their defense, use this momentum to potentially keep it rolling on the defensive side, but their offense uses it, as momentum to bolster up on their side. You got a Golden State team 4-7 against the spread this postseason, and they're 0-4 in the playoffs after holding their opponent under 105 points. And they're allowing 124 points in the next game from those opponents. So, two totally different momentum shifts. And last thing I'll throw out there, I looked at a couple of LeBron-specific trends. 25-14 against the spread with 3 wins in the playoffs, but he's 22-3 straight up, 19-6 against the spread with 3 series wins after the first round, but he's 4-0 straight up and against the spread as a dog. So, I think they ride the momentum in 2 different ways here. I don't think the Lakers win, but I'm not laying 7 points here with Golden State. So, give me the Lakers and the points.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense as far as how you want to kind of pivot off of that full game spread there. The one thing that I looked at, I know you brought up a lot of great trends and angles there to this game, but one thing that I looked at historically, right, and more specific to like how teams do in a specific like playoff series score, right? So 3-1 series. If the team leading the series is coming off of a tight win, and what I did was look at 3 points or less, so a 3 point win or less, and they're a dog or favored up to 6 points. Those teams are 2-12 straight up, 0-14 against the spread throughout the entirety of that Killer Sports database that we use, Jeff. And for the most part, the primary margin is in that first quarter, minus 5.6 average margin in the first quarter of those games. If you just think about it, right, it just makes a lot of sense that these teams that are down 3-1, especially when they're at home for the most part, they're they're coming out with a lot of urgency, right? They're playing with a sense of urgency. The other part too, after the third quarter, or after the halftime, the third quarter, these teams are also minus 6.6. So the teams that are down typically make the adjustments both pregame and at halftime, and they get it done in those two spots. And we know that the Warriors, especially at home, do well in those spots specifically. So just team trends, team analytics, team trends, and historic trends actually kind of point towards the Warriors getting done in both the first and the third quarter. But the second and especially the second quarter is where we typically see depth take advantage, or, be more important. And to me, the Lakers have the bigger depth there. And that's kind of why I kind of stayed away from the first half and focus more solely on that first quarter and the third quarter, because we know we're going to see heavy minutes from the starters, especially on the Warriors side. And then if I expect some complacency from the Lakers, we might be, obviously LeBron has his first quarter minutes kind of just set up already, where he gets off the quarter on like the 6-7 minute mark. I forgot exactly what mark it is, but he doesn't play that whole first quarter. So that's another advantage for the Warriors there that they could take pretty much take advantage of. So if I was to bet anything in this game, I probably would focus in on that first quarter there on the Warriors side. I think it's like minus 1.5 or something like that, and I could definitely see them taking care of business in the first quarter. Matt, what are your thoughts on this one here?
Yeah, in all honesty, I have to completely agree with both of you. I love that first quarter look. I think that the Golden State Warriors are definitely going to come out with some urgency here. They've had some players who have not performed very well, like Klay Thompson having 15 points and 9 points, I think shooting around 30% over those two games as well. Would definitely expect him to rebound in this spot. But I also have to agree with Jeff. And this is a series that, it hurts my heart. You guys know how much I dislike the Lakers. LeBron James is my arch nemesis since I was around 15 years old. My hands are already sweating. But I have to go with the Lakers here. The Lakers +7. That is a lot of points, and this team is just better. You guys have heard me talk about this before the playoffs, in the playoffs, like the start of this series. Get some exposure. If you're a futures guy or girl, get some exposure on the Golden State Warriors, the Los Angeles Lakers to win the championship. I really believe that this is the best team in the NBA playoffs, and not just because of Anthony Davis, not just because of LeBron James, but it's because of that depth. Their depth is incredible right now. You have guys like Dennis Schroeder stepping up, getting 15 points. You have guys like Rui Hachimura stepping up, getting 15 points. All of these guys, Lonnie Walker Jr. Everyone forgot about Lonnie Walker Jr. And here's the thing. When he was with the San Antonio Spurs, this guy had games where he had 30 points. This guy can pop off. So they have all these people on the bench. Austin Reeves, not a bench player, but another guy who can just pop off for 15. And that is so essential when it comes down to the playoffs because, guys like Steph Curry, there's so much pressure on Steph. Everyone's ragging on him on the internet and stuff like that. But when you have guys like Jordan Poole getting a 0 piece, and then you also have Klay Thompson getting a 9, it's going to be pretty tough to win that game, okay? And then with the Lakers, there's just so much trust around that locker room, not only in the starting lineup, but also in the backups, the guys coming off the bench. And I think Darvin Ham is doing an incredible job as a head coach because he's riding with the hot hand. Lonnie Walker, not someone you typically see going into the fourth quarter and running the entire fourth quarter. But Darvin Ham has that trust in his guys. So for me, I am with Jeff here. I do think that the Warriors will squeeze this out and end up winning this game. I think it's just one of those bounce back spots for sure for, someone like Klay, or I think Steph is going to step up here too. But the 7, that's a lot of points, +7 for sure.
Yeah.
And, another thing with this Warriors team, they just don't seem the same to me. Jordan Poole has somewhat regressed. He is not playing nearly as good as he did in the last playoffs. Leading up to the series, I said I'm a little worried that Jordan Poole is going to be like Harrison Barnes' 2017 finals. And it's pretty damn close, okay? And then in addition to that, you got Draymond Green podcasting after every game. It's just, LeBron James shuts down his social media going to the playoffs, and Draymond is podcasting about what happened. To me, that's just not smart. That's not good basketball. So I'm going to be with the Lakers. This Warriors team, as much as I love them, they're just not the same. They're not.
Man, Matt, I'm gonna be so sad for you if the Lakers win the championship. I know it's gonna be so funny.
Hey, have you guys seen that little video with the dog shooting hoops down the stairs, and one is Lakers, one is Warriors, and it goes 3-1 Lakers?
Yeah.
That's like my
What did
last
it
hope.
choose?
It chooses Warriors 4-3. It chooses Warriors 4-3. The Lakers go up 3-1 and the Warriors come back. That's literally all I'm hinging on, is a dog shooting down some stairs, okay? So that's what I'm hoping for. It is what it is.
There's a stat that I saw. I don't know. I didn't validate it or whatever, but it seems like when LeBron is up 3-1 in a series, he's yet to lose that series. So the odds are not on your favor, Matt. I feel I'm sorry for that, but let's move on to the best section here. I'll go first because mine's gonna be pretty quick and easy here. I do think that the Knicks take care of business in the first quarter. That's kind of been their spot all season long, especially at home as favorites. 34 game sample size, including the playoffs. Their average first quarter margin is plus 4.7, and we only the first quarter line today right now is -1. So we're not asking them to win by a huge margin here. They just got to be up by 2 points or a bucket there. You can go back to game one of this series when the Knicks were up 11 after the first quarter, and that was with a healthy Butler in the lineup as well for the Heat. Obviously, I don't think they're going to be up by double digits here, after the first quarter, but I do think that they have a legit shot of being up at least 4 points, in my opinion, here with that sense of urgency. And like I said, there's going to be some complacency on the Heat side, up 3-1. And also the fact that I feel like Butler's not going to play heavy minutes. Now, I don't see him playing 40 plus minutes. He'll probably get some rest early in that first quarter. And we know Miami's depth isn't completely there. And we're gonna see the starters on the Knicks side play. I want to say almost the top four players in the on the Knicks starting lineup is probably gonna play 40 minutes there. So I expect a pretty fast start here for the Knicks. And I think they're gonna get it done on the defensive side of the ball as well. So I wouldn't take the over first quarter. I would just stick with taking the Knicks up by at least a bucket in the first quarter there. From a premium side, I do have MLB up. I think I have one going off right now. I have the Pirates, and I have four more in the MLB in a package available over at Wager Talk. And I'm gonna add this the Knicks first quarter as a premium play as well, and possibly look towards something in that Lakers and Warriors game. I haven't posted anything for NBA yet, but definitely this Knicks first quarter is going to be a play. Let's go to Jeff here. What do you got for best bet on this show, and what do you have going on over at Wager Talk?
Yeah, I'm sticking with that same game for my best bet. Matt gave you a little bit on Julius Randle. I liked what he said, and but I'm going with RJ Barrett tonight. I don't, I'm not saying Randle doesn't have a good game, but RJ Barrett's point PRA number is sitting at 27.5 right now. And in the last 5 out of 6 games, he scored at least 21 points alone. So he's gone over this number in 6 out of the last 7, and he's done it in 5 out of the last 7 at home against Miami, and 4 out of the last 5 overall against Miami. So, he's got his back against the wall. We said it before. We talked about the Knicks, and I do think that they have they obviously have some pressure to win this game, but outside of what we've mentioned about them playing extra minutes, potentially even looking at 40 plus minutes, I even just looked on the season without Emmanuel Quickly in the lineup. RJ Barrett was getting almost 9 points per game, 9 minutes per game more with Quickly out of the lineup. So he's already taken, the extra load out. He's already gotten his extra opportunities out there just because Quickly's been out now. Again, in that potential almost go where, can't talk. In the winner go home situation, RJ Barrett is in a back against the wall. I definitely see him putting up 21 plus points again. And he's a guy that's been able to get it done on the boards and get an assist too. So he's gotten it done at all three levels. And if he puts up 20 plus points again, that's only looking at what, 7.5 rebounds and assists there too, which is a number that's easily achievable for him. So I do like RJ Barrett going over this 27.5 PRA number tonight for the Knicks.
I like that look a lot. We were talking right before the show, Jeff, about that play as well. I mean, just him at home in the playoffs has been so good, and I think obviously with all the extended minutes they're going to be seeing on the court, a lot of these Knicks guys are probably going to go over their PRA, in my opinion, even if they go under the full game total. Matt, let's go to you here. What's the best bet for the show, and what do you got going on over at Sports Memo?
Yeah, guys, I already got one play loaded over at SportsMemo. Definitely going to be adding a couple more, like we talked about. Definitely liking that Warriors first quarter. Definitely taking a look at the Lakers plus 7.5. That's just a lot of points in my eyes. But for today's best bet, this will also be a premium play, and this is going to be Klay Thompson over 22.5 points. You know, for one, we talked about it a little bit before. Klay Thompson is coming off a 15-point outing and a 9-point outing. And in those games, he shot 3 for 11 last game. And in total, he's shooting around 30% when Klay Thompson typically shoots around 44% from the field. Another thing with Klay Thompson that is pretty important is the fact that he plays so much better at home. Klay Thompson actually averages 24.4 points at home and 19.2 points on the road. So now coming back home in front of that Golden State Warriors crowd, and this is the number 2 option for the Warriors, someone who you can't have scoring 9 points, shooting 3 for 11 in a big playoff game. So for me, I think this is a Golden State Warriors team that knows they have to get Klay Thompson involved early and often. The Lakers could be a little more lax than usual on defense, even though I do like that +7. I think this could be a higher scoring game. And definitely Klay Thompson is going to be part of that, you know? So for me, I really do like the look of Klay. It's just a typical bounce back spot. It's a spot where, again, this is a Warriors team with their backs against the wall. You know, again, this is a championship caliber team, a team that has been there before. So even though I do not expect them to come back in this series, I do expect them to get this spot. And I expect Klay Thompson to be a big part of that. So for me, it's going to be Klay Thompson over 22.5 points in this spot.
I like that too, Matt. And the people talk about Game 5 Klay. That might be the spot here tonight. He's probably going to go off from 3 for sure. All right. With that said, guys, we talked about both games here. Gave up our best bets. Our next show will be on Friday. I think we got Tony Finn with us, with myself and Moneyline Matt here. Make sure before we go, guys, make sure you guys head over to sportsmemo.com for Moneyline Matt, and then Wager Talk for myself and Jeff Michaels here. Me and Jeff, we just moved over to Wager Talk, and we have a promo going on over there. Welcome 2023, and that's going to be available all week long over at wagertalk.com. The promo code again, Welcome 2023. You save 50% off any daily, weekly, or all access package from myself, Jeff, or the other guys who just moved over to Wager Talk as well. With that said, guys, like I said, our next show on Friday. Till then, guys, good luck with all your action. Peace.
Peace.